I'm Madhuri. I run a blog called Mad About Kitchen. I have done my graduation in fine arts and then went on to do my post-graduation from NID, and I've done my accessory design and then did my post-graduation from London College of Fashion. That's like what I've done. But right now I do food photography and styling, which a lot of people think is not related to what I've studied, but I feel it's completely connected to what I've done, and that's like has built the foundation for me to do this. So magic. When Karishma called me and she said the theme of the month is magic, and she thinks that my work kind of fits into this theme. I really like the theme, but the only thing was I had to speak about it. So I thought, how I wish she had just given me the theme and told me to just click some pictures, I would have done a better job. But yeah. So when she called me, I was really interested. So I spoke to a lot of my really close friends, saying that they have a talk and they want me to say. So they all had their own views, you know, how my work kind of fits into this theme. One of my friends, he told me that my life, he knows me from a long time, so he told me how my life has kind of moved from what I studied and what I'm now ended up only seems like a magic to him. And one of my faculty, he told me that how I see a very basic, as in say in Kannada, like a basic saru anna in a very artistic way only seems like magic to him. And one of my other friends, she told me how I pick up recipes from my grandmom and kind of build a story around it. And when I met Karishma, Vandana and Vishwe, they also kind of threw up so many ideas which they thought might fit into the whole talk. So everybody kind of had their own ideas of why my work kind of fits into magic. It was all their view of how it kind of. But none of it kind of came from my heart. They all made sense, but nothing was my this. So for me, magic was something else. So magic has a different meaning to each and every one of us. To each his own magic. My magic doesn't need to be yours. Yours doesn't have to be mine. So as a person, I'm not good at talking. I can't talk. It's really, sorry.
All your photos do the talking.
Yeah, so exactly, I was coming to that. So, when I studied in juries and things, I used to always get a feedback that your work is so good, but you need to learn to articulate. You need to talk about it. I kept telling them that I can't talk. I have never been able to talk. So I kind of took up my work, which my heart was into, as something that could speak for myself, for me and for itself. My work was my medium of expression. Because I couldn't talk, I couldn't stop working, nor could I stop doing anything. After NID, I started working with a lot of home furnishing companies because I had done accessory designing. I chose the home furnishing sector. But then I went on to work with Ministry of Textiles and in the rural craft development sector. And I did a lot of craft development and things. So every time inherently, I think I have a very traditional handicraft touch to whatever I design. So these are some of my works that I have done. This is the cages that I had sourced, and the lamps inside are completely handmade. And these are the blocks that is used for block printing, which I have converted as hooks, as in pegs. This design, I come from Malnad. So in Malnad, we have this tray that is there. We use it to knead the dough for rotis and things. So this is actually a roti mane, we call it roti mane. So I've used that and converted it into a table. So I've always kind of liked what my grandmom or what I've learned as a child, and I always feel it's missing now, and I try to kind of bring it in some way or the other. So basically, when you see, I've always had some little bit of traditional touch to whatever, and craft touch to whatever I've done. So decision to start Mad About Kitchen. So after marriage, I moved to London while I was studying at London College of Fashion. So in there, I started cooking, and then there was a lot to kind of explore because the kind of things that you get there, and which I hadn't obviously seen here, kind of really excited me to start cooking and experiment and things like that. So once we came back, I got a lot of things from there and my experience or whatever I had seen. So I got back here and then I started cooking here. And then I started posting it on a few groups and things, and where people kind of started saying the images are really good, and they would ask for recipes. So I would just type it on the message and then just send it. So one day we were just sitting, and my friends and my husband, they were all like, why do you keep typing the recipe? Why don't you just open a blog? I said, I don't think I can stick to a blog. I'm not that disciplined that I might kind of, stick to it and do it for a long time. So if you actually read a description about myself, I've actually written that I hope I stick to my passion this time at least. But what started up as a passion kind of gave me so much satisfaction unknowingly, because I never knew that food photography or styling would give me so much satisfaction. Every night when I sleep, I know what I'm going to do next day, and when I wake up in the morning, I'm so excited. I just want my son and my husband to kind of go to school and office so that I can start working on it, that kind of excitement. Though I really loved what I did as a designer, I really liked it because that was something that actually connected me to art and things. But still, this, I can't explain how much more joy it gives. That is when unknowingly I realized I was missing something. So when I started food blogging, it was just a basic recipe from my grandmom or something which I used to pick it up and then just shoot. But later I realized, if you see my blog, I don't write too much about myself or a story. I just stick to recipe, method, and that's it. I don't want to write because I can't write. I think talking and writing is like an art which not everyone can do. So if you see my blog, I have more number of images than anything that I write. So I thought, why not take pictures as a medium to kind of explain even the process and everything. So I need to write less, but still people can see it and understand what's happening. So I took up my images or photography as a medium to kind of tell a story about a basic recipe, whatever it is, but it has to save. It can be any story. It can be how it is made, or it can be about which area it comes from, or it can be about how it's eaten. It has to say something. It's like a painting where, I want to say something about some subject. So, I'll just show you 2-3 examples of what. So a basic lemon pickle, nimbekai uppinkai. So here I talk about the ingredients. It's mostly about lemons and salt and green chilies. These are the things that go into a basic lemon pickle. Here I talk about how it can be cut or what kind of jar can be used. So next step is how I layer it, like how a lemon can be layered with salt. And here I also have a squeezed lemon which kind of says I have put a little bit of lemon juice into it and not just cut lemon into it. Here I have shot it in sun. So it kind of says that once you have layered it, you keep it in the sun for it to kind of, soak up all the things. So in this, you can see that it's dried in the sun for some time, and then you have that chili paste with that tempering next to it. So here I kind of explain how I mix it with it. And this is the final thing where I kind of put it in a jar and then seal it and then store it up. So this is obattu, the puran poli that we make. Those are the things that will go into the obattu, and this is how you kind of fill it, and that's how you make the puran poli. And on a tawa, how you put it, and then I really like the kind of lines that come with the plantain leaf and not. A lot of people now use paper and plastic, but the kind of the texture that the old method of using a plantain leaf and all that gives us something. It is something that I relate to what my grandmom or my mom used to do it when I was a small kid, you know. It's just basic obbattu which can be had with ghee. So in this, when I actually put it on my blog, this is still not up on my blog, but when I put it on my blog, I'll have to actually write very less and just show it through my pictures. And also what I look in any other blog or in any other recipe is how does it look. I can read a lot of recipes, but when I actually look at somebody who's done it, I kind of get more confidence in, okay, even I can do it, or okay, it's going to turn up decent, or things like that. So I personally, I don't like too much of text to even read in any other blog, and also in my blog I don't want to do it. So that's how I kind of got into storytelling using pictures itself. Creating a frame, props kind of does like 3/4 of the job for you, because props kind of tell you what food it is and where has it come from. It does half the storytelling for you. And sourcing the props is such an exciting thing, because every place has its own excitement, has its own props and has its own unique props for it. When I go for a vacation, one day is dedicated to prop sourcing, and it's so much fun. You want to go to those small markets and ask them what is the old things that you have. This is in Udaipur. I actually expected a lot of these kind of things in Udaipur, but I was so surprised I couldn't get anything. And finally, one small shop in Udaipur, they had this, and they said, "Kyun chahiye ye?" I said, "For photography." He's like, "हाँ बहुत है, आ जाओ." And he gave me so many things, and he didn't want to charge me for it because he had no use for it. And I was just thinking that I might have to throw out my clothes, but I will still carry them and come back, you know. And they are so pretty. I couldn't leave them. So whenever I go out, I kind of look for props and source them. When my husband travels out, abroad has these flea markets every weekend, which has like really awesome props. So I kind of look for the flea markets. Then I send him, and I call it the WhatsApp shopping. He kind of just shows me everything on WhatsApp, and then I say, okay, buy that, buy this. So it's so exciting that what you see and what you get is also a little bit different, but still it's so exciting to get new props. So here it is something which is very Indian. Here I've showed more of, this is one of the Victorian plates and spoons that I got from London, and that is from US. This, as you can see, is Jaipur. I got it from Jaipur, the blue pottery. How you can see so much of culture and art even in the props. And finally, how each and every photograph speaks for itself. You might have seen something else in the same photograph, and how I see something else in the same photograph. So there are certain things which work for me in some photographs. I'll just run you through few pictures. This is a very close-up shot of roasted brinjal. So how just a texture kind of creates that interest about process. How you show a process using just a photograph. That it has to be peeled and then scooped or things. And then the wow factor. Some photographs unknowingly and unintentionally turn up so well. Like this one, I don't know, I must have clicked some 50 images, and then maybe I got like 2 good images. So there is something in this which I really personally like about this thing is, it just makes me feel, wow, okay, I've managed to get a good picture kind of a thing. Play of colors, how in a frame, keeping it minimalistic and also kind of playing with colors is something that I really enjoy. So here again, I've kind of tried to show that it's a sunny day with a little bit of sun. And in the actual image, we can see more of a detailed thing. So where the sunlight is falling and it's a little more hot, and then you can have a juice. Sometimes you don't have to do anything. It's just the food that makes you say, how I wish I can have an obbattu kind of a thing. See, there are a lot of ways I do it. Either my whole recipe is based on what prop I have. If I buy a new prop, I really want to use it. So I imagine what food will go well with the prop. So that is one. And then I have some recipe in mind which I really want to shoot. And so every time I do that, and sometimes I've cooked something which has turned out really well and I have to shoot it. So these three kinds. So usually, like for this Obbatu, I have to plan like in a day in advance, so I can go get the plantain leaf but yeah, so a day is what I kind of spend with all that. And then if I'm shooting the whole process, it takes at least half a day to shoot every step and then do it. If I'm just shooting the end product, then it just takes me 2 hours to completely do everything and shoot it. And post-processing, it takes half an hour. Not much of post-processing, because usually I try and do all my settings on the camera. But like this pickle thing, I had to do it over days because I had to leave it in the sun for a week and then take the next one and the next step and things like that. So just little bit of planning. But sometimes it's very, instantaneous. You just make something and it looks so good. I do have I follow some chefs and people who I follow their recipes, and I know their recipes will work for sure. The recipes which I have learned as a kid, or what my mom cooks, or what I've learned from my mother-in-law, is something that I am familiar with. Otherwise, even I keep learning so many recipes, every day. Like, for instance, even pasta, it's not something that I have grown up with. So that is something that I've learned. When I was in London, I was exposed to so many other cuisines, and when it comes to commercial there is a lot of things that they use as substitutes, but I prefer not to use. I remember Prem once called me for a assignment and he said we'll have to use a lot of fake things. I said no, I don't think I want to do it because I don't like doing it. But it is changing for sure, because a lot of people, like even the customer wants to get what he sees. So a lot of restaurants want what it looks like, they want me to shoot it the way it looks. In my room, I have this huge window and I have a darker curtain in the room. So whenever I place something, I kind of cover the whole room and just kind of give it a little bit of the gap in the curtain, and which kind of just falls on the food or something. The backgrounds are mostly painted boards. I have 2 feet by 2 feet plywood boards, which I just painted as and when sometimes I have to paint the boards depending on what I'm shooting. So, the top one, which has that roasted chickpeas, the third one from top, I wanted it more like a tone and tone thing. So I painted that whole board just to match with the roasted chickpeas. Yeah. I started my blog in 2014. So after if you go back and see my first few posts, I've just used my phone and I've just taken it. But actually, when I started getting few feedbacks that it's nice, I thought why not actually use the camera that I already have, and started taking it more seriously. So what I learned in fine arts or in designing, I think that has helped me so much in food styling. In fine arts, we learn so much about textures and color combinations and, so much in fine arts, I developed my own style. My faculty always encouraged that you have to develop your own style. There is nothing wrong or right in what you do. It is your style. You don't have to think whether it's going to be appealing or what. It's your style. There is nothing wrong or right. So one is that. And in designing, I learned so much about composition and balance and things like that, which unknowingly, because I have learned, and that is my foundation, helps me here so much. I think it naturally now comes, or when I kind of do the placement, and that, because that's been a very strong foundation for me. That's it.